All right, welcome back, everybody. This is Dave with Alum House. We are back on these recordings, and today we're going to talk about sweetening your mix. If you haven't checked out the recordingrevolution.com. The Recording Revolution, Graham Cochran, he's a phenomenal mixer. He's a professional engineer. He's a bassist, an instrumentalist, a vocalist, a singer-songwriter. He kind of covers the gamut of doing everything, and he has got a fantastic YouTube channel. I've learned so much from him. I really recommend you go and check him out. He's got a lot of free resources, a lot of free videos that I think you'll really find useful as you start to really expand your knowledge of mixing and using these tools, compressors, EQs. But one of the biggest things we can start to do is what he calls sweetening the mix. So we've gone through and set our panning left and right. We're going to mess with the guitars a little bit to get some more separation. But we've messed with the drums a little bit. We've got a decent mix going. And what I want to do to start out with is mess with our guitars so that right now they're right in the middle and they're competing with our vocals. And what I want to do is just pan the electric to the left, pan the acoustic to the right a little bit, and see what we get. So here we go. So you start to hear that spectrum gets a little bit wider. Let's keep going because the song gets big here in just a second. All right, that's pretty good. Now, when we add reverb, reverb is really going to add this artificial room, which is going to add more on both our left and right for whatever we put in that reverb. So to do this, we're going to come over here to a track and right click anywhere, and we can click on Add Effects Channel. We'll double click in the bottom. We'll call this Band Verb. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to right click again, Add Effects Channel, and I'll call this Vox Verb. Vox just being short for vocals, if you haven't picked that up yet. Now I'm going to take a mix verb. I'm going to drag and drop this into each location. And now we have the ability to set up what we call a send, which is sending a copy of the specific instruments that you want into this reverb. So we'll deal with vocals first because that's going to be the most prominent. So I'm going to back up here and I'm actually going to turn on a loop. So I'm just going to click up here with the left button, drag and drop this little pencil up there. I will right click now, choose loop active, and I'm going to use the send right here. And now you get a little options that come up, and I'm going to click on Vox Verb. And now we have a little fader here that's sideways. And let me bring this up even more. We have a little fader that's sideways, and we can adjust how much is going into that effect. All right. So let's just listen to this male vocal. Now I'm not who I was. Yeah, I am who I am. If I turn it up. A sinner saved, a stumbling saint. And we can turn it back down. Still never alone. All right, let's hit stop. So you can hear that it's automatically adding some artificial space. I'm going to open up this mix verb and see what our features are that we have here. All right, pre-delay is the first one. Pre-delay is the amount of clean signal you would hear before the reverb starts. This is a beneficial tool, and I'm going to just set this as a real blanket at 25 milliseconds. All right, now we have a size, and let's just crank this thing up and see what these each do. All right, so I'm going to bring that way up. He's alive in my bones, the ghost of God. So that's acting like a bigger room. Sanctified. And then the damping. Day by day by day. So that could be like, if you've got a lot of people in the seats or a lot of carpet, you would have more damping. But if you're in like an old school cathedral, you know, or old school church building, you might have less damping that's got marble floors and wooden pews and such. All right, so we can kind of adjust that. Over here, we've got width, so you could actually change how wide of a room it actually is. Let's hit play and see what that sounds like.
Day by day by day, day by day by day.
So you could hear how that went from really wide left and right, a little bit more compact to the center. And then we have this mix feature over here, mix tool, which is locked. So if we unlock it, that would be adjusting the amount of reverb versus natural signals. So what I mean by that, if I turn this all the way down, we're going to get all natural signals. So just listen to this.
Day by
It's all natural
day
signal.
by day, and day by day by day, day by.
So as we go from 0 to 100, we get, it starts out with all just straight vocal and no reverb. As we increase it, we get more reverb added, less and less of the initial male vocal. At 100%, it's all reverb and no initial signal. So we, and in this case, because we're running the reverb outboard or as an effect here with its own fader, we want to leave this locked at 100% and just roll with it like that. We can adjust the level here, and this is kind of building a mini mix within that reverb. I'm going to bring this damping, let's see, I think we have some presets here. And this a lot of times is an easy way to go. If we start with vocals tight, that may, yeah, we'll start with vocals tight and see what we get. So let's hit play.
He's alive in my bones, the ghost of God.
We'll bypass,
Sanctified.
bring it back on.
Day by day by day.
All right, so we'll see what that sounds like in the mix. We will leave all of that where it is, and now I'm going to just come in here, click the plus, and add this to the female vocal as well. So I'll click vocal verb. Let's see where the male vocal is minus 3.8, female is minus 6, so maybe I need to turn that up a little bit. Oop, there we go. Let's hit play.
Day by day by day, day by day by day.
All right, but as we talked about, these are in solo, so this means really nothing. Let's hear what it sounds like in the mix. I'll click this S over top of the main, which will just alleviate all of the solos. We'll come back here and run it with the band.
A stumbling saint, still never alone.
So that's a little bit of space in there.
He's alive in my bones, the ghost of God.
Turn these off.
Sanctified.
That's a dry signal, so it's adding a lot actually.
Day by day by day.
Back on.
Day by day by day. Day by day by day.
Not bad. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into this mix verb for the band, and we did vocals tight. Let me bring this up so we see the whole window. We did vocals tight, but now we want something for the band, and let's just pick a ambience natural and see what that does for us. All right, so we will X out of this, and now we're just going to go through and add little bits in to this reverb. Hit play. Start with acoustic.
Day by day by day.
You can also drag and drop these from instrument to instrument. overheads are a little much. Snare drum you can usually do a good bit of verb on. Let's back this kick drum way down. So when I hit solo on this band verb, this is what we're hearing. This is the little mini mix that we've made into that reverb. So I'm going to unsolo all of that. What I want to do now is I'm going to turn off the mix verb. I'll actually just mute the reverb here. And I'm also going to mute the vox verb. And what I want to do is just listen to the band with no reverb, and then I'll turn that reverb on. So here we go. This is without verb. And here we're going to add it in. I'm going to turn the acoustic guitar down in that verb some. All right, let's add vocals dry. Vocals with verb. All right, the one last thing we want to do on this is actually EQ our reverb. So we're going to do it the same way we did with any other instrument. We're going to grab our channel strip, which is here. We're going to drag and drop it. And there's some kind of real general things we want to do. We want to keep reverb out of the low end. So I can take this and just drop the low. We also want to take some out of the highs. So I'm going to drop the highs, and then we'll adjust this. Our subwoofer range on most PAs is usually about 110. So we'll take it just above 110 to 120, and that will keep our reverb from really being nasty in our subs. The other thing we can do is with our top end, we'll just adjust this a little bit. And it's starting very high on the frequency spectrum, so let's hear what that sounds like. And this is on the vocal verb. Oh God, sanctify. So bring this down some. Day by day by day, day by day by day, day by day by. All right, we'll do the same thing. I'm actually just going to copy and paste this onto the band verb. The reason I'm doing this, natural reverb in the room, the mid-range frequencies are the ones that reverberate the most, and the top-end frequencies are soaked up by bodies in the room, and they do not reverberate unless you have really hard walls. And so this is going to give it a more natural feel. So let's just come back here, we'll hit play, and here we have now. Now I'm not who I was. Yeah, I am who I am, a sinner saint, a stumbling saint, still never alone. All right, that sounds pretty good. So now we've kind of sweetened up the mix by panning some instruments left and right. We've added some reverb for the band, reverb for the vocals. And at this point, we've got a pretty good mix. So just getting this far, doing this over and over, starting to plug in some headphones and listening to the changes that you're making with each little thing along the way is really a huge step in practicing. Because let's be honest, when you get up there and you've finished setting up your PA and then the band is set up and you do a sound check and now the band starts to practice, if you start messing with gain structure, you're messing with their monitors or the effects or the downstream if you're doing any live streaming or post-production, anything like that. When you mess with the gain, you mess with everything. You've got a little bit, usually practice time where you can practice with some reverbs, but if they're either choosing not to use in-ear monitors or maybe they're still using floor wedges and you start playing with delay and reverb in the main PA, it kind of messes them up. And so you really don't have a lot of time to practice. So use this as a resource. Use this mixing in the box as a tool. You can start to treat yourself as a home studio engineer, and really it's going to take your mixing to the next level. Well, thanks for watching. Any comments or questions, please leave them in the comment section below. Give it a thumbs up, and we will catch you guys in the next video. Thanks so much.